Hi, my name's Jude. We're at B-Shed Builds in Fremantle for 2023 Great Ball Contraption, and I'm going to take you around the modules. So the first one we have here is Rimo Buckets by NDL. I made a few modifications to the original design. It uses an Akuki wheel from the Fork to Fork, and the buckets was designed by Rimo from Japan. It's been working really well today and yesterday. Put it on the table and straight away no issues, no leak balls too, which is good. From there we have Monty's splitter, which is a WMO1 with a splitter from HRU bricks. My friend Monty from South Australia made that design, and there's some digital building instructions available on Rubricable. At the back here we've got the Cup to Cup Type 2 from Akuki. I had to do quite a few modifications to this design to get it work reliably. It still drops a few too many balls, so modifications to be done still. From there we have the invisible lift, which is another one of Akuki's masterpieces. Incredibly complicated to do such a small task. Done some modifications to the gearing and drivetrain in this, and it's working really well this show. And we'll hop back down to the front here. This is my classic space section. I've got my version of Tilt Shift, which is a Great Ball Fit design. I added the frame to it, and I added the standard connector here, which I usually don't do, but it was a good one in this case. It stops the module from shifting around, which is really good. After that one we have my version of Tom Atkinson's Spiral, using a Akuki input from the invisible lift and Alright. After that one we have my flipper, which I've had for a few years now. Here we go, here's some balls. It's pretty basic. This is a fail. Okay, next after that is Robot Dreams, which has been working marginally well all show, apart from just now when we decided to do filming, obviously, because that's normal. There has been extensive modifications to this design, which was an original JK Brickworks design. Berthel van Beek added the nice Technic frame. Myself and Aaron Lockhart worked on the double arm opening things and the new grabbers, which I think are essential to getting this module to run semi-reliably. At the back we've got Berthel van Beek's staggered lift, which is always a little bit questionable. It likes to break sometimes and then it works flawlessly other times, and today was a mix of both, but oh well. Working away. At the back here we've got the Ball Factory version 3, which is an Akuki design that was taken by Berthel van Beek again, added the Technic frame on it, which makes it a lot stronger, easier to transport. I built this just over a year ago, and it's been sitting on my bench under extensive modifications and timing and all sorts of silly things, and it's worked essentially non-stop the whole show, apart from a couple times when the pneumatic module collided with this little wheel thing at the front here and disintegrated the whole thing. But it's been working well today. At the front, yes, we've got the pneumatic module, which is a Akuki design where there's a motor that runs 2 compressors that pump air into the system. And then at the back here we've got strain wave gearing, which is another one from Akuki. It's a lots of friction, lots of parts, lots of moving things that can go wrong and will go wrong. Luckily on this one I added the 2 XL motor drive from Dunes. It's made it very reliable over the show. I've only had a couple issues where the chain got out of sync. Other than that, it's been working well. At the front we've got Pastilos, which is a Hugh Millington design with a frame added by Fernando Q. This one I had to swap it in for a module that failed, so I haven't really paid attention to it much, and it's kind of just been doing the hard yards all show, and it's leaking a few balls, but I haven't really been bothered with it. At the back here we've got Flying Deltoid by CK from Singapore. I did the building instructions for this because CK really wanted them to be available. It was really good to work with him to get this one done. I've seen quite a few of these built. This one's had 0 issues the entire show. It's worked flawlessly. At the front we've got the Cup to Cup Type 1. I've done some modifications to the drive on this. This is the version that has the clutch gear under the input. I modified it to have two clutch gears in parallel, which means the clutch can take more torque, more resistance before clutching, if that makes sense, and it's working out really well. At the back here we've got the Ball Shooter Marble Run version 2 by Berthel. I made only a small amount of modifications. It's worked all show. I didn't pay attention to setting up the hoses at the show, so there's a couple balls are coming off, but it's been really good. At the front, my cup conveyor, this is the version 1 that I did. It has been dropping balls a lot, and I'm not very happy about that. So if you're going to build something like this, build the version 2 by Junes on my Rebrickable page. Much better. After that one, feeding into the Bulldozer field, we've got the Centipede Lift version 2 by Carlson, it was a design by a bloke in America, I can't remember his name, and he added a Technic frame to it, and it's really good. I quite like it. It feeds into the dozer field. But at the back we've got my Type 2 bucket pass, which is one of the oldest modules I ever designed. It's using a good old brick roll ball pump and a different style of linkage to get the buckets to move, which I found more reliable than prior designs. And then at the back of the Bulldozer field we've just got a nice ramp saucer lente because it's really long and it's not important. Obviously at the front we've got the Bulldozer field with a Nico 71 Bobcat. It has been, well, we've had a few issues with it over the show when the chains on the tread links come off, but as long as that doesn't happen too often, it's all good. That feeds into 6 heads. For some reason, the green head has not been, well, I can tell why, but the green head's been picking up no balls the entire show so far. The other ones have been doing the hard yards. That just absorbs some of the flow from the Bulldozer and feeds it off nicely. From there we've got Hugh Millington's Scissor Lift version 2. That's a nice small part count build. It's really reliable. Highly recommend that one to anyone. After that we've got Batch 13, which is an award-winning design from a bloke named Sam for the Great Ball Pit Discord Challenge, where it was designed to release 13 balls in a batch. Yeah, this one won that competition. At the back here, just after the Ram Saucer Lente, I have a little Hoken module and a pusher upper from Hugh Millington yet again. And then I've got my prototype version 3 for the flipper. We saw one earlier on, but I've adjusted this one to have shared power, same on the Sam Frias and Sam shared power, so I'm attempting to finalise that design and finally make some instructions for it. From there we're into Mako Arts design, Tumble Dry I think it's called, using all the banana gears. It's a very cool one to watch. It absorbs a ton of balls, releasing them in batches. It's been working really good this show, which is awesome. From there we have Stefan from Sweden. He's got his rotor lift. This is rock solid design. Highly recommend to anyone who wants to build GBC. It's got a nice low input. Output's nice and meets standards. It's got flexible output. Easy absorbs batches. Yeah, definitely recommend. From there we've got 2019 John Bros workshop module from Brick World. It's been working away. Some issues with this one with the input jamming, but that's notorious for this module. From there we've got the original Dunes variant of Tilt Shift by Great Ball Pit. Sometimes we have issues with the input in this one, but other times it works-ish okay. From there we have my Rainbow Perpetual prototype, which is a Tom Atkinson design, enhanced by the Dunes version. Added the extra side panels to the output because I didn't want to deal with unlevel tables and all that. I just wanted it to be easy. From there we've got another 2019 Sawtooth. That was the 3rd module I ever built and it's still running now, which is excellent. After that one we have a simple wheel, very basic, been working the whole show. Yeah, one I whipped up in about half an hour, so it's not 100%, but it gets the job done. From there we have one of our 2 ball counters. This is a standard type ball counter that's a mechanical one. So the balls roll down the front into a inbox where they get dragged up this conveyor. and pulled past this thing that's got a bunch of arms on it, and the gears are such that every single time one of those arms gets pulled, it spins the one digit one time. And if that spins 10 times, this spins once. And if that spins 10 times, this spins once, and so forth. Then we have a count on the front, which I can't see, so I can't tell you what it is. From there, the balls come down the back into the Scarbeck 2017 module by Mako, which is running on shared power with this custom-built Akiyuki picker, using the 2 arms. I like this design, it's much more compact, more parts effective. From there, we're down into our lower tables, which is first time we've had it at B-Sheds. It's very good to have a lower table because it allows the kids to get involved. We've got a Donahue conveyor at the bottom and another one of the Hugh Millington scissor lifts, but this is a wider one so it can take more balls. After that, we have one of the Brick Fair workshop modules. I think it's one of the second newest one. I don't know what year that is. And then from there we have a WMO1 conveyor from Matt Norman, feeding into a Mako modification of a Lego set fire truck that was out quite a few years ago now. From there we've got a modification of a whirligig from Matt Norman. This one's got a larger inbox which helps it take on batches. From there we've got a critical fail on the the raising lift, which is based on the WMO1. We've just lost the conveyor belt, but I guess we'll skip that quickly and move on. From there we've got the tri wheels, or whatever it's called, from Stefan, using the the Hailfire wheels or whatever they're called. We're using this one as a splitter at this show to run 2 paths. Along the back we've got all the modules, and along the front we've got the train. We'll do the modules first, then we'll come back to the train. So we've got a sweep up the back of an arch design, which I think is based on Tom Atkinson's design, but there's been a lot of those around throughout the years. From there we have a modification of a Pill L design, which is a designer from France, using the 3x5 thin arc pieces. I've made my own design of this online. I do recommend it, it's pretty cool. From there we've got another Stefan design. This is the Mega Stepper. We're using that to feed the Around the World module, which is definitely one of my favorites. It has a lot of nice theming, something you don't usually see very often, and when the public see it they can identify the locations, like, oh, I've been to that place or whatever. It's a very nice module. From there we feed into the modification of Fork to Fork, which uses a conveyor versus the original wheel lift, and a series of forks that are horizontal. This one's been working pretty well. It's also got our B-Shed sign on it. From there we have Bertha Van Beek's logarithmic ball counter. This one is slightly questionable, but that's where I'm going to leave it. It counts the balls on bases of 10, so we'll collect 9 balls in there, and then the 10th ball will drop down to the layer below and it will release the 9. Is that correct? I don't know. Whatever. We'll get one more. From there we have the whack-a-mole sort of design, which is the balls step up and then crisscross along this little platform. It's cool to watch. Wait for them to come through. From there we've got Cradle Tipper from Stork, or Stefan. That's a nice technique design, it's working very reliably. From there we feed into our long conveyor, which we'll get back to in a second. So we'll just go back down to the loader to watch the Type 2 train. So this is a modification of Akiyuki's Type 2 train. It's been modified in that the striker arm has been moved over so that it lines up with the train more consistently, so that it can get a better strike. And we're just going to send it back to get some more balls. There we go. Train gets stripped, past the passing unit, and then into the elevator. Now this is a modification of Akiyuki's elevator. It's using counterweights to keep the platform in the upper position when the train is not locked on. And again, another modification of the rotary dumper. And then back down. So from there it dumps into our little conveyor, which absorbs the ton of balls and spits it out one by one. And then up into my bridge. And we've had some interesting issues with the bridge today, not in the bucket pass but in the simple conveyor itself. It's lost quite a few of its telescopes that hold the balls up. I'm going to have to investigate why that's the case later, but yeah, the bucket pass has been working really well, which is good, and that's about it. Oh yeah, this is my Type 3 bucket pass. It's an attempt to put it in an Akiyuki style frame with a stepper. I took this stepper from Staggered Lift we saw before. It's really strong and industrial and sturdy, so it can bridge the gap quite easily without flexing. It does make a lot of noise when running, so it's a lot of noise pollution, yeah. Nice cascade down back into the rimmer buckets. And that completes the loop at B-Sheds in Fremantle, Perth, Western Australia, 2023 Great Ball Contraption. Thank you for watching.